You will not like what you're about to hear. In fact, some of it might offend you. But that's exactly why you need to hear it. Most people will never change, not because they can't, but because they won't face the truth. They scroll through motivation, nod through sermons, repost quotes, but their life stays the same. Why? Because they avoid the brutal truths that cut deep, hurt, and demand action. But if you're tired of cycles, if you're sick of pretending, if you're actually ready to change, then these 5 truths could shatter everything that's been holding you back. And I dare you not just to listen, but to stay to the end. Because the final truth, it's the one nobody talks about, and it just might be the wake-up call your soul's been screaming for. Pain is the price of progress. That's a truth many people run from, but it's also the very reason some never change. We live in a world obsessed with comfort and instant gratification. We want things easy, fast, painless. But real transformation, the kind that rewires your mind and reshapes your reality, rarely happens without discomfort. Growth is painful because it demands that you break down old patterns, challenge deeply held beliefs, and push yourself beyond what feels safe. When you decide to change your life, you're signing up for a journey through discomfort, and that journey is exactly what separates those who evolve from those who stay stuck. Imagine the caterpillar before it becomes a butterfly. It lives a simple, protected life, eating, crawling, existing within its cocoon. But to transform, it must enter that dark, confined space and struggle to emerge. That struggle is painful and difficult, but it's necessary. Without it, the butterfly would never develop the strength needed to fly. Life is no different. If you want to become something new, something stronger, you have to be willing to endure the pain of breaking free from your old self. Pain comes in many forms when you pursue change. It might be the pain of sacrifice, giving up habits, relationships, or comforts that no longer serve you. It could be the frustration of failure, the sting of rejection, or the loneliness that sometimes accompanies growth when others don't understand your journey. You might have to confront your fears, your insecurities, and your worst doubts. All of that hurts. It feels like a storm inside your mind and body, shaking you to the core. Most people hear the word pain and run the other way. But pain isn't the enemy, it's the signal. It tells you that you're alive, that you're pushing the boundaries of what you thought was possible. The problem is, we live in a culture that tries to sell us the idea of painless success. Advertisements promise quick fixes, instant happiness, and effortless results. Social media showcases highlight reels where change looks glamorous and easy. But behind every real success story, there is an untold tale of hard work, sacrifice, and pain. The people who achieve extraordinary things are the ones who sit with their discomfort longer than anyone else. They don't seek comfort, they seek progress. They welcome the struggle because they know it's the only way out of mediocrity. This is why so many people remain trapped. They want the results without the process, the glory without the grind. They want to change their lives but aren't willing to endure the pain that change requires. And so, they stay in their comfort zones, stuck in routines that feel safe but slowly kill their potential. The truth is brutal. If you want to move forward, you have to embrace pain as your ally, not your enemy. When you start to accept this, something powerful happens. Instead of avoiding challenges, you begin to seek them. Instead of shrinking from discomfort, you grow curious about it. You realize that pain is a sign of progress, a marker that you're growing, learning, evolving. Every time you face something hard and push through it, you become stronger and more resilient. Pain teaches you lessons that comfort never will. It exposes your weaknesses so you can fix them. It forces you to innovate, to adapt, to become better. Changing your life is not about avoiding pain. It's about mastering it. It's about developing a mindset that sees struggle as the stepping stone to success. It's about realizing that the discomfort you feel today is the foundation of your better tomorrow. When you understand this, the obstacles that once seemed unbearable become manageable. The setbacks that felt like failures become fuel for your comeback. This mindset shift is not easy, but it's essential. When you embrace the pain of growth, you also unlock your potential. You stop making excuses and start taking action. You stop waiting for things to be easy and start working through what's difficult. You begin to see that the pain you feel is temporary, but the progress you make lasts a lifetime. No one wants to live a life filled with unnecessary suffering, but the truth is, avoiding all pain means avoiding all growth. The choice is yours. Stay comfortable and stay stuck, or endure the pain and change your life. The cost of comfort is high: wasted time, lost opportunities, and unfulfilled potential. The price of pain is worth paying because it leads to a life of purpose, power, and progress. So, if you're serious about changing your life, start by accepting this brutal truth. Pain is inevitable, but it's also your greatest teacher. Don't run from it. Lean into it. Let it shape you, strengthen you, and drive you forward. Because the only way out of your old life is through the pain of becoming someone new. The second brutal truth you must accept to change your life is that you are the problem and also the solution. This is a hard pill to swallow because it challenges the very instinct. We all have to blame external circumstances, other people, or unlucky breaks for where we find ourselves. It's much easier to say, if only my boss was different, or if only my family supported me, or if only the economy were better, than to admit that the real obstacle to your growth lies within you. But the truth is that change begins and ends with you. Until you take full ownership of your life, you remain powerless to alter it. Blaming others is a natural defense mechanism. It shields us from the uncomfortable responsibility of examining our own choices and habits. But it's a trap. When you point the finger outside yourself, you give away your power. You become a victim of your circumstances instead of a creator of your future. If your life is not where you want it to be, the first and most important step is to stop blaming and start owning. This means recognizing that your habits, your decisions, your mindset, and your daily actions have shaped your current reality. You created the good parts of your life, but you also created the problems. Taking ownership is not about self-blame or harsh self-judgment. It's about honest self-awareness and accountability. It's about looking in the mirror and asking, what role have I played in this situation? What can I do differently right now to change it? This shift in mindset is crucial because it moves you from a place of helplessness to a place of control. When you realize you have the ability to change your story, you become empowered to take action. This truth can be uncomfortable because it forces you to confront your flaws, your mistakes, and your weaknesses. It requires humility to admit where you have fallen short and courage to make new choices. But it's also liberating. When you stop blaming others, you reclaim your power. You realize that the key to your freedom is in your own hands. You don't need anyone else's permission, approval, or support to begin changing your life. You simply need to decide that you will no longer allow your circumstances to define you. When you fully embrace this truth, you begin to see your life differently. Challenges become opportunities to grow, setbacks become lessons, and failures become feedback. You stop waiting for external conditions to improve and start focusing on what you can control: your effort, your attitude, your discipline. This is where true transformation happens. It's not about blaming yourself for everything that goes wrong, but about taking responsibility for everything you want to go right. This mindset also changes how you approach relationships and environments. Instead of blaming toxic people or difficult situations, you ask, what boundaries do I need to set? What habits do I need to change? What actions do I need to take to improve this situation? You stop being a passive participant in your life and become an active problem solver. You become someone who can navigate adversity with resilience rather than retreating into excuses. It's important to understand that taking ownership doesn't mean you ignore external factors completely. Life will always throw curveballs, unfairness, unexpected tragedies, and situations beyond your control. But your response to these challenges is where your power lies. You can choose to be defeated by circumstances or strengthened by them. You can choose to complain or to act. You can choose to be a victim or a victor. This choice begins with accepting that you are responsible for your life, no matter what. This brutal truth often scares people because it means they can't blame anyone else anymore. It means the work of change falls squarely on their shoulders. But it's also the most empowering realization you can have. It means you are not helpless. It means you have the ability to rewrite your story at any moment. You don't have to wait for a rescue or for the right time. You don't have to hope for luck or outside intervention. You are the architect of your destiny. When you accept that you are both the problem and the solution, you begin to take radical action. You start setting clear goals, building better habits, and surrounding yourself with people who support your growth. You become committed to continuous self-improvement, knowing that every effort you make compounds over time. You stop being a passenger in your life and become the driver, steering with intention and purpose. Ultimately, this truth is about empowerment through responsibility. The moment you stop blaming and start owning, you unlock the door to lasting change. You stop living at the mercy of circumstances and start creating your own reality. It's a brutal truth because it demands honesty and courage, but it's also the foundation of every successful transformation. If you want to change your life, you must first accept that you are the source of the problem and, more importantly, the source of the solution. Time is not on your side. This is one of the most uncomfortable, undeniable realities that most people choose to ignore because facing it can be terrifying. We often live as if we have all the time in the world, acting as though tomorrow, next month, or next year will be the perfect moment to finally start living differently, to chase dreams, or to make the changes we keep promising ourselves. But the brutal truth is that time is constantly slipping away, and the longer you wait, the more of your life you waste. The clock is always ticking, whether you acknowledge it or not, and there is no pause button. When you understand that time is your most precious, non-renewable resource, you start to see everything differently. Each moment you spend procrastinating, making excuses, or waiting for conditions to be perfect is a moment lost forever. No amount of wishing or hoping can get that time back. You cannot rewind or slow down the passage of days, weeks, and years. Your life is literally being measured in seconds, and every second wasted is a lost opportunity for growth, happiness, or progress. This truth is brutal because it means you cannot afford to delay action. Waiting for motivation to strike or for the right time is a trap that keeps people stuck in their current circumstances. Many tell themselves that they will begin changing once things settle down, or once they have more resources, or once they feel ready. But life doesn't wait for you. The perfect moment rarely comes, and if you keep waiting, you will spend your entire life waiting. The harsh reality is that the best time to start is always now, even if conditions aren't ideal. People who succeed understand this implicitly. They know that progress is made by taking small steps consistently, day after day, without waiting for permission or ideal circumstances. They understand that time is a force working either for them or against them. Every day that they work toward their goals is a day invested in their future, compounding their progress in ways that multiply over time. Conversely, every day spent hesitating is a day lost, making the path to change longer and harder. Another aspect of this truth is how quickly time accelerates as you get older. When you're young, it feels like life is endless, but as the years pass, days begin to fly by faster and faster. Suddenly, decades have slipped away, and people find themselves wondering where their youth went, where their opportunities disappeared, and why they never achieved what they once dreamed of. This is why the urgency to act is so critical. Time is always moving, but it never moves slower for anyone. To accept this truth fully means to confront your own mortality, not in a morbid way, but in a way that sharpens your focus and clarifies what really matters. When you realize that your time is limited, you stop wasting it on things that don't serve you. You stop settling for mediocrity or distractions. You start prioritizing what's truly important: your growth, your relationships, your purpose. This realization can be a powerful motivator to stop making excuses and start making progress. Accepting that time is not on your side also means recognizing that every choice you make has consequences in how much time you have to live the life you want. Wasting time on negative habits, toxic relationships, or meaningless distractions shortens the window you have to become the person you aspire to be. It's a call to evaluate how you spend your days and to cut out everything that doesn't bring you closer to your goals or enrich your life. Many people fail to realize that time is their most valuable asset until it's almost too late. They chase money, possessions, or fleeting pleasures, thinking these will buy them happiness or security. But no amount of wealth can replace lost time. The years you waste stuck in bad situations or paralyzed by fear are years you cannot get back. And when you finally do wake up, you might find the cost of change is much higher because so much time has passed. To change your life, you must begin to treat time as a sacred resource. This means becoming intentional about your daily actions. It means setting priorities, creating habits that align with your goals, and refusing to allow distractions or procrastination to steal your moments. It means committing to the hard work of consistency, knowing that the compound effect of your efforts will build over time. The brutal truth about time also demands a ruthless honesty with yourself. How much time have you wasted already? How many opportunities have you missed because you told yourself you would start tomorrow? Answering these questions is uncomfortable but necessary. Awareness is the first step to change. Once you see where your time has gone, you can begin to reclaim it by making better choices now. Ultimately, the reality that time is not on your side is a wake-up call. It forces you to stop living in denial and start living with urgency. It demands that you stop putting off your dreams and start taking action, because time will never stop for you. It will only keep moving forward, with or without you. If you want to change your life, you must accept this brutal truth and let it fuel your determination. Use the limited time you have as the catalyst for relentless action. Understand that the only way to create a future worth living is to begin now, no matter how imperfect the start may be. The clock is ticking, and your life is waiting. Most people live their lives trying to control everything around them, desperately seeking certainty and safety in a world that is inherently uncertain and unpredictable. This desire for control is natural because it offers a false sense of security. We want to believe that if we can just manage every variable, avoid every risk, and plan perfectly, then nothing bad will happen. But the brutal truth is that you can never control life completely. No matter how much you try to plan, prepare, or manipulate circumstances, uncertainty will always be a part of your journey. Accepting this truth is essential to changing your life because it frees you from the paralyzing fear of the unknown and allows you to move forward despite it. Trying to control everything is exhausting and ultimately futile. It leads to frustration when things inevitably don't go as expected. It breeds anxiety because you're constantly worrying about what could go wrong, and it limits growth because when you're fixated on control, you resist change and cling to the familiar, even if it no longer serves you. The reality is that life is chaotic and unpredictable by nature. Events happen beyond your control. Opportunities arise unexpectedly. Setbacks appear without warning, and people change in ways you cannot foresee. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you can stop wasting energy on fighting reality and start focusing on what truly matters. This doesn't mean giving up on goals or being passive. It means shifting your mindset from trying to control outcomes to controlling your response. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you react. This is a powerful realization because it puts you in the driver's seat, not as a master of fate, but as a resilient navigator who adapts to the waves instead of being crushed by them. When you accept uncertainty, you develop the flexibility and mental toughness necessary to thrive in any circumstance. Accepting the limits of control also means embracing discomfort. When you release your grip on certainty, you'll feel vulnerable and exposed at times. That's part of the process. It's uncomfortable to step into the unknown without guarantees. But growth lives on the edge of your comfort zone, and uncertainty is the gatekeeper. You can't evolve without taking risks, facing fears, and moving forward despite doubts. Those who cling tightly to control often miss out on life's greatest opportunities because they refuse to take chances. True change demands courage, the courage to trust yourself even when you can't predict the outcome. Another important aspect of this truth is learning to surrender to the flow of life. Surrender is not weakness or giving up. It's an act of wisdom and strength. It means acknowledging that some things are simply beyond your power and that resisting reality only causes more pain. Instead, surrender invites you to work with life rather than against it. When you let go of rigid control, you open yourself to new possibilities. You become more creative, resourceful, and open to unexpected blessings. Sometimes the best outcomes come from detours and surprises, not from rigid plans. This mindset also reduces stress and increases peace of mind. When you accept that uncertainty is normal, you stop catastrophizing every minor problem or setback. You stop obsessing over trying to predict every detail. You learn to be present and focus on what you can influence in the moment. This doesn't mean you ignore risks or fail to plan. It means you plan with flexibility and adaptability, ready to pivot when needed. The truth about control can be difficult because it challenges deep-seated beliefs about security and stability. Many people grow up with messages that they must have everything figured out to be successful or safe. But life rarely works that way. Those who succeed often do so because they are willing to face uncertainty head on, learn from failure, and keep moving forward. They understand that control is an illusion And that true power comes from how they respond when things don't go as planned. Accepting this brutal truth means cultivating trust, trust in yourself, trust in the process of life, and trust that you can handle whatever comes your way. It means developing faith in your ability to adapt, problem, solve, and bounce back from adversity. This kind of trust is built through experience, reflection, and a commitment to growth. Every time you face uncertainty and choose courage over fear, you strengthen your capacity to handle the unknown. Ultimately, the desire for control is a natural part of being human, but clinging to it too tightly keeps you trapped in fear and limitation. If you want to change your life, you must learn to let go of the illusion that you can control everything. You must accept uncertainty as a constant companion and shift your focus to what you can control: your attitude, your choices, your resilience. This acceptance will free you to take risks, embrace growth, and live fully despite the unknown. By releasing the need for total control, you open yourself to transformation. You allow life to surprise you and bring new opportunities. You stop being a prisoner to fear and become a master of adaptability. And in that freedom, you find the power to change your life in ways you never thought possible. Most people have a deep desire to be liked, accepted, and approved by others. It's human nature to seek connection and avoid rejection. However, if you want to truly change your life, you have to accept the brutal truth that not everyone will like you, agree with you, or support your vision. In fact, the more you grow, the more you push beyond your comfort zone, the more you will face criticism, rejection, and opposition. Accepting this reality is essential because trying to please everyone or gain universal approval will only hold you back from living authentically and pursuing your highest potential. The need for approval often leads people to conform, to play small, and to avoid taking bold actions that might upset others. This craving for acceptance can be paralyzing because it makes you fearful of standing out or rocking the boat. But real growth, real transformation, and real success almost always involve doing things that some people won't like. You can't grow into the person you're meant to be if you're constantly worried about how others perceive you. You must be willing to accept that disapproval is an unavoidable part of the journey. When you accept that not everyone will like you, it frees you to be yourself without apology. You stop trying to fit into molds that don't suit you and begin to live in alignment with your values and purpose. This freedom is powerful because it allows you to invest your energy into things that truly matter to you, rather than chasing superficial validation. You become more confident, resilient, and focused on your own path instead of being distracted by the opinions of others. Facing disapproval can be uncomfortable and painful. No one enjoys rejection or criticism, especially when it comes from people we care about. But it's important to understand that other people's opinions are often more about their own fears, limitations, and biases than about you. When someone disapproves of your growth or your choices, it usually reflects their discomfort with change or difference. Their negativity is not a reflection of your worth, but a projection of their own struggles. Accepting this truth means you develop thicker skin and emotional strength. You learn to separate constructive feedback that can help you grow from baseless criticism meant to hold you back. You become selective about whose opinions you allow to influence you, focusing on voices that genuinely support your progress and ignoring those that don't. This discernment is crucial because not all criticism is valid or helpful, and giving too much weight to every negative comment will drain your motivation and confidence. When you stop seeking approval, you also become more authentic in your relationships. People are drawn to authenticity, and living genuinely attracts those who truly resonate with your true self. You build connections based on respect and mutual understanding rather than superficial acceptance. This leads to deeper, more meaningful relationships and a stronger support system that encourages your growth rather than stifles it. Another aspect of this truth is learning to embrace solitude and self-validation. When you rely on external approval for your sense of worth, you give away your power. True confidence and fulfillment come from within. You must learn to validate yourself, to honor your own progress and values, regardless of what others think. This self-acceptance is the foundation of lasting change because it roots your identity in your own truth, rather than the fluctuating opinions of others. It's also important to recognize that trying to please everyone is impossible and exhausting. No matter how hard you try, there will always be people who disagree with you or don't support your goals. Chasing universal approval wastes your energy and distracts you from what you were put on this earth to do. When you accept this brutal truth, you stop trying to be everything to everyone and start focusing on becoming the best version of yourself. This acceptance doesn't mean you become indifferent or arrogant. It means you develop a healthy balance. You listen to feedback, you grow from criticism that serves you, but you don't let the fear of disapproval dictate your decisions. You take risks, speak your truth, and follow your passion, knowing that the cost of authenticity is sometimes losing approval, but gaining freedom. Ultimately, the need to be liked is a natural part of human connection, but it must never come at the expense of your growth and happiness. If you want to change your life, you must accept that not everyone will like you, and that's okay. In fact, it's necessary. This acceptance will free you to live boldly, take ownership of your path, and create a life that is truly yours. Embrace the discomfort of disapproval as a sign that you are moving forward and breaking free from the limits of others' expectations. By releasing the need for universal approval, you reclaim your power and begin to live with courage and authenticity. This is one of the most liberating and transformative realizations you can have. It's a brutal truth, yes, but it's also a key that unlocks the door to genuine change and fulfillment.